Okay, so once your mapping's complete, colours are chosen, we're going to do our first pass to secure the template. It's really important that you get your template secured on this first pass because you don't really want to have to mess around after with your drawing again. So I'm going to show you a really easy way of checking that as we go. So my actual hairstroke template, it does change slightly from client to client because the most important thing that you do is follow the natural brow and the direction of growth. You will get your workbook as well with a few different patterns that you can learn. You can see on Emma's hair, sort of from about here, the top layer of hairs are already growing downwards, which is quite a quick turn. Normally it's around this hair area. So I'm just going to move my template over slightly just so we make sure we're blending. When you're doing your first pass, you need to be careful that you are not smudging your template. So just kind of keep in the back of your head where your stretching hand is. Like if you go that way a little bit for me, Emma. So I always have where I'm working facing the ceiling, so I can ensure that I keep my 90-degree angle. The key with hair strokes is light pressure, slow hand movement and your 90-degree angle. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start just by putting what I call the spine into my brow. And this is going to be where all of my strokes are going to branch from. And the position of this is going to be to follow the natural brow growth. Because it's going to be a long line, you might want to etch this in rather than try and do it in a single movement. So anything above this line, the hair will be coming downwards. So this one's going right along my template. When you get to the end of a stroke, make sure you taper out of the skin nicely. This will be easier to see when the pencil's gone. Now I'm going to start on that spine and just start bringing my strokes downwards towards my drawing. Always tapering out of the skin nice and gradually. You need to create that nice soft finish. Okay, so I'm going to do a branch up. I always do the tail first, and then we're going to have a little wipe and just check pressure. There's no bleeding, so I know I'm definitely not too heavy on Emma's skin, but at the same time I need to make sure that I'm implanting enough colour that I'm not going to lose my template. So I'm going to get this outside stroke in. How's it feel, Emma, all right? Yeah. And then I'm just going to grab a cotton bud, just dampen it down slightly. Now when you're checking, you need to be careful that you're not ruining your template, because if I wipe and that colour's not there, I need to see where I'm drawing again. So I'm going to stretch the skin, and with one firm wipe, I'm just going to wipe straight through. Make sure I'm in, so I can nice and easily see nicely see my implantation, so I know I'm getting the colour in well. If you wipe and you can't see your strokes nice and clear, then you can still see your template and you can go straight back over your strokes. You don't want them heavy, you just want a really light, faint implantation. So when we wipe all that pencil off, you'll see kind of my pressure on my first pass and what I'm aiming for. So I'm happy with my pressure there. We know the skin is a little bit thinner here than it is over here. So I might just slightly increase my pressure when I come underneath here, not by much at all though. So I'm going to continue putting these base strokes in and get my drawing. So this one's going to come up from my spine and flat along my template. Where my turning point's going to be, it's always nice and flat. You don't want to end up creating like a V where the strokes change direction. And then just following on from those bottom ones. And this is just to put our shape in. We're going to come back after, put all of our detail in. And carry on with my spine now. I'm going to just etch this one in because it's going to be one of my thicker strokes afterwards anyway. I'm going to bring that right the way down now to the bottom. And then I just need another one in there. So when you're doing these, you want to try and keep a similar distance in between each of your strokes as well. Okay, so I'm going to scoot behind Emma now. Can you lift your head up just a little bit? Perfect. So I'm going to put this very first one in where my white line starts. Curve that round. I don't go right to the top on this one because that's going to prevent that squareness forming in the brow. And then I'm going to have my turning stroke that's going to come up and flat. And then I'm just going to put one more in there. So making sure you're still following the direction of that natural brow. Okay. If you want to, you can do another check. Make sure that you are in before that you wipe. So yeah, got a nice one there. And I've got that bottom one in there. So I know all of my points are in. So I'm not going to wipe this off. I'm going to soak the brow. Every pass you want to be soaking. So a little bit of pigment, because that's going to allow more of your pigment to now be soaking into that pass. And then just a tiny bit of cling film. It's just going to stop your pigment drying out and let you wipe it off the skin a little bit easier. And then we're going to do the exact same on the other eyebrow. Okay, so I like to move around to the other side to do this eyebrow. You can do them both from one side if you've already got, you know, like a routine that you're in. There's no reason why you have to change. I'm just much more comfortable going side to side on eyebrows. So I'm going to do the same again on this side. Let's have a little look where her turning point is. So again, it's kind of right over here. So I know my upward strokes have got to go along a little bit further and make sure this spine's not too, I don't want it too high because she's got quite a lot of hair up here that still comes downwards. I'm not going to do all of the hairs down on Emma though, because I'm trying to create a little bit of lift in this outer part of the brow, so I need some of my strokes coming up. So good stretch. I always kind of use 2 fingers to pull that way, and then my pinky on my tattooing hand gives me a 3-way stretch. You need to get a good stretch when you're doing hair strokes if you want to create those nice crisp lines. Okay, this one's straight along my template. And the same up here. But all of these strokes are branching from the spine to keep that direction flowing. So no two pattern that you're going to do if someone's got natural hair is going to be identical. But I would definitely say have a pattern in your head that you automatically do. So if you get someone walking with no brow hair, you've got that pattern in your mind already. Okay, so let's just bring that spine through the brow. So you can see under here where Emma doesn't have any natural brow, that's where we're going to need to add our shading in. So this is my last one that's going to be nice and flat. So you see I never start on the template, I always finish on the template drawing, because that's going to make sure I get that nice soft finish around my edges. And then just stopping a little bit short on that top corner. Make sure you bring those ones flat, so the one that comes down and one that comes up, where they meet, they don't actually meet, there's still a gap in between them, but it must be flat along that template and not too over directed. So for me, this is kind of just putting the foundations in, and then I'm going to work from this. Before you soak your second brow, a little bit of security. If you want, just give it another little wipe. Check your pressures the same. Make sure we are in. Yep. Okay, yep. Okay, so once I'm happy with that, I'm going to soak that side. I haven't removed any of Emma's natural hair yet that was in my white area. I'm going to do it now once I wipe the first pass off, because I find sometimes if I do it, I end up smudging my drawing and then I have to redraw. So as long as I'm confident that I've tattooed that shape in, now I can remove the excess hair when I'm wiping. So just fold that over, give that one a nice little soak. So in my tray, I just have some gauze pads and I'm just using sterile water with a tiny bit of green soap in it, which just lets the helps the pigment come off the skin nice and easy. I don't put too much in there though, because green soap is quite drying on the skin and we don't want that when we're doing strokes. Get the rest of your face on. Okay, so I can see my template. Now I know when I'm working that I just make sure I stay inside of this.